Good morning once again. We'll begin reading from Whispers from Eternity by Paramahansa Yogananda, entitled, Come to me, O Christ, as the divine shepherd of souls. O shepherd of souls, wandering hearts are seeking of themselves the one fold of divine devotion. We have heard the ever-calling music of thy infinite kindness. Our one desire is to find our home in thee, to receive the cosmic Father with the joyous open eyes of wisdom, and to know that all of us are sons of our own one God. Teach us to conquer the Satan of dividing selfishness, which prevents the gathering of all our brothers' souls into the one fold of spirit. Calling to one another by the watchword, love him who loves you, and love all who love you not. Let us rally beneath the canopy of the universal oneness of the Christ. Amen. And from the essence of self-realization, the wisdom of Paramahansa Yogananda. This is drawn from the chapter, How to Pray Effectively. Pray with ecstasy, meditate with ecstasy, and whenever you have a free moment, think of God. Be like the needle of a compass, which, no matter which way it is turned, always points back to the north. That is the way of the yogi. No matter where he goes or what he does, his mind ever points toward the pole star of God's presence within. How should you love God? Love him as the miser loves money, as the drowning man yearns for breath, as the desert wanderer craves water. Love him with the first love of true lovers. When you have learned to love him with all your heart, you will have him. You will then be a yogi, one who is united with God. Union with the cosmic beloved is the most enjoyable experience possible. It is dream after dream, joy after joy, 1,000 million divine romances in one, ever thrilling your heart. In every point of space, you behold searchlights of his love, shining like a million suns. As often as you think you've exhausted his love, again and again, like a rolling surf, it crashes anew upon the shores of your mind. That is ecstasy. Yogananda said that God feels a little bad about what he's done, thrusting us into this world and knowing that we have in the depths of our very soul the memory of that experience in God. We all come out of God, that experience of joy, that experience, as Yogananda in this reading said, that every time we think that perhaps we would have exhausted his grace, his joy, his love, then the next wave comes of these blessings of spirit. And so because Yogananda said God feels a little bit bad about what he's done to his children, all of us, he, of course, has the remedy of remedies, and that's simply sending these great souls, these great avatars and saints into this world in order to remind us of who we are and where we're going. There's a beautiful video that you can watch. It's on YouTube. It's the Children of Garden Doll. These were children who had the vision of Christ's mother, the Virgin Mary, And their story is quite something. They're just little children, 11, 12 years old. There's about 3 or 4 of them. And just to see their faces is just extraordinarily inspiring. And so these great saints, these souls, these exalted beings come back again and again and again. And when you think of the year is almost exhausted. Where did 220 go? As exciting as it's been, and perhaps the excitement continues into next year, we'll see. The year has roared by. But if we think in terms of what is speckled throughout the year, especially here in India, the land of festivals, but I'm speaking particularly of our own line of gurus. Very soon, after New Year's, January 1st, we'll have Yogananda's birthday, January 5th. And soon thereafter, his Mahasamadhi in March. And on it goes with the birthdays and the Mahasamadhis of these great avatars of our line. And so for us, really, yes, seclusion is the price for greatness, and we're getting a good bit of it with this COVID experience. It's true. But I'm speaking of, real seclusion, where you can spend time with God, a half a day, a week, as long as you can. Well, that's not always easy in the chapter of life that we find ourselves in. But when we've got these powerful times, like we have now at Christmas. Christmas is just coming up, Christmas Day, where we celebrate the birth of this great, great avatar. When we have, as we do, these experiences throughout the year, then we can deepen our attunement with them. Because, again, as Swami Kriyananda said so often, especially toward the last years of his life, that he said, Yogananda stressed again and again, attunement. And so, as Gyanamata, Yogananda's most advanced disciple, said, that it's hand-to-hand combat. Think of this. Hand-to-hand combat with the newly awakened disciple and the guru. And it continues to be hand-to-hand combat. We can tell you from experience, those of us that have been on the path for a while, it continues to be that. Why? What are we, crazy? I think so, to some extent anyway. What is this combat that we're talking about? It's resistance. Resistance to go deep in meditation. Even Swami Kriyananda said, he went to Yogananda and said he was having difficulty going into the breathless state. Imagine him saying that. He had just got on the path. He was 22 years old. And yet he was such an advanced soul, as Yogananda said, he'd be liberated in this lifetime. He was already having deep experiences. He said he looked forward to every meditation because of that joy that was there. But he wanted to go into that state of deep inner stillness, which is the fruit of deep meditation, especially the technique that we offered Ananda, the Hong Sa technique. And stillness, Yogananda said, is God, where we go so deep into our own souls, into our own spines where the chakras reside, that even the breath is extinguished. And we are powered, we don't die, we are powered by this Shakti of the Kundalini, the Shakti of the chakras. And so he said to Yogananda, he said, I'm having trouble going breathless. And Yogananda said, well, that's because in the past you talked a lot. But he said, well, you were happy in that. And so with all of that communication, he found that it had carried over into this life and created some mental disturbance, some mental restlessness, and so on. And so it was difficult for him to go breathless. Over the years, I don't think for a moment for Swami Kriyananda that was an issue, but he did bring that up to Yogananda in the beginning. And so for us, as we again gallop through, which we will, 2021, and find ourselves again at Christmas with the all-day meditation, which we had yesterday, online, hard to imagine. It was wonderful, absolutely wonderful. But the year will go by. And so, because we know in the Gita, as Krishna says, get away from my ocean of suffering and misery, although again, this is his hobby, but he knows that as Yogananda said, if you hit your dream head, because it's just a dream, the yogis tell us, if you hit your dream head on a dream wall, you'll experience dream pain. And so this next year will go by like a rocket, but we can pause as often as we can, of course, throughout the day, but especially during these times like Christmas, where it's extraordinarily powerful. It's why Yogananda gave us a deep blessing. He wanted to really brand into people's minds that we wanted to really go deep into the power of Christmas. And so he began to start the tradition, which we follow to this day, of an all-day meditation. And it can be a little daunting, whether we're beginners or seasoned. But the amazing thing, whether we take part in a small amount or the full day, it really, really has the potential to set the tone, especially as we go into the new year, to set the tone that we again renew that vow, God alone. Yadamata's vow, Yogananda's most advanced worldly disciple, God alone. So that as we go from Yogananda's birthday into his Mahasamadhi and all these auspicious times of these births and Mahasamadhis of our line of gurus, then we can more deeply attune ourselves and put to the side more and more this thought of hand-to-hand combat, this notion that, we know better and we want to follow, our own will and all of these things. Well, we are finding, certainly we're finding that the truth is this, that the more we align our little will with God's will, with the will of the gurus, we're happy then. We're in that joy. And that joy animates our thoughts. There's so much concern always about the restless mind. Joy has the power to thrust out, and joy is the fruit of meditation, thrust out all those restless thoughts so we can concentrate. And as we go deep, the heart begins to blossom like a lotus. The image is that each of the chakras that reside within ourselves, think of them as lotuses with their petals bursting out and releasing these wonderful experiences of our own soul. And so Christ came into this world as we know in miraculous fashion through his mother, the Virgin Mary. And how sweet it is that the great ones came to be there at the first hours of his coming into this world. And Yogananda said, and it's quite something to contemplate, that the three wise men, so famous throughout the world, were none other than Sri Yukteswar, Lahiri Mahashai, and Babaji, coming to bless the Christ child, who was destined in his short life. He passed at the young age of 33, as we know through crucifixion. But what he was able to do in that time period, well, we experienced the ripple effect to this day. As I was sharing those little children of Garvin doll, you see in their faces reflected their attunement with Christ, and it's just awesome. And we know that when we look in the mirror and we feel the presence of God, then I like to say that God has put makeup on us, His divine makeup that day. Other times, perhaps, if we've had a hard day, we look in the mirror and think, who is that fellow? Hard to recognize because the face, the eyes are reflecting the strain, the challenges of the day. And so, of course, we want to do our best as instruments in this world, in this very, very needy world, amidst tremendous crisis. We want to do what we can primarily to change ourselves, because as I was sharing with a friend yesterday after the all-day meditation, I was saying that, it's quite extraordinary. And I think we all certainly know this, but it's good to think of this from time to time and meditate on it. That as we meditate, remember, every time we're at the point between the eyebrows, we're burning up karma. And with Kriya especially, as we are drawing these karmas through the practice of the Kriya Pranayama into the light and so forth, we are really doing two things at least. One is, of course, we're burning up the karma, these past activities of God knows how many incarnations, and of this one. But at the same time, as all of these karmas are being released, what is happening? What is happening is that the joy, the love, compassion, patience, endurance, everything, strength that we need in order to negotiate this life, these qualities buried within our own spines, within our own chakras, within our own soul, are released. And so then the ideal, especially because this world is in great need of comfort, great need of Divine Mother's love, then as we are releasing this karma, then at the same time, more and more, we've got more to give. The instrument is blessed by that which flows through it. That's why Christ, during the agony of his experience on the cross, he said, Father, forgive them. They know not what they do. They're asleep. They don't know what they're doing. And that's why Yogananda said, quite remarkably, that Christ didn't mind the crucifixion that much. As Christ himself said, I could bring down legions of angels. It wasn't meant to be. But he could have. Not to mention, he didn't need all those angels. He could have done whatever he needed to do. As an omnipresent master, he did not lack the power to have extinguished his enemy in whatever form. But he didn't, because this was the play that he was destined to play out. He did so remarkably. And yet, after his crucifixion, then he appeared to his disciples that were grieving, of course, for the loss of this great, great eternal friend. And so he came to them and said, peace be unto you. And he's been doing that ever since, through, again, as I shared, through the blessing that these children are experiencing of his presence, of the great saints, Saint Francis, so many to this day. And as we read too in the autobiography of Yogi, these saints, these avatars, again, just because their body passes, what is that? Yogananda said when he had passed to console one of the disciples that was standing by his casket, he said, and she heard him, Louise Royston, I'm not in there. That's what he said. That's what she heard. And she was greatly comforted. So these great saints come back again and again and again. Of course, they reside within our hearts. They can't get any closer than that. But also in these various ways to comfort us and to encourage us, because they remember when they too were struggling in this dream. And it was tough. And they've had to work very, very hard. And so for us, right attitude is everything, because we really know, or we wouldn't pierce the veil to lead us within. Many people in this world, good people, they're just not interested. But We are. And so as we have gone inside, we know that there's these great treasures. The portable paradise is within. And we want these treasures. We want them this lifetime. And yet at the same time, so that we don't create resistance and all these things in our own lives, we have to do what we can to practice Nishkam Karma and feel as a little child, trust his parents to do all the things that adults do. The child isn't capable of doing that. The child's only 3 years old. They can't take on the responsibilities of an adult. And so for us, we need these saints, we need their power of joy, especially their power of love to guide us. Because otherwise, we'd never get out of here. I'm convinced of it. We would never get out of here. And so again, as I was sharing with a friend yesterday, as we are doing our meditation, especially our Kriya, yes, we want to be realized. But along the way, there's much that we can do in terms of seva. There's much that we can do by being generous on every level that we can think of. But especially, we're meditating anyway, why not get the most of our meditation rather than just, and it's a common challenge for all of us, we get impatient. When will God come? And so forth. And yet, he's here with us. We can't forget God's the director of playing all parts through us. And when we awaken from this dream, we will know that that will be true, that there was never a moment that God was ever absent. It's absolutely impossible. One time Yogananda was asked if God knew about Satan. And imagine the questions that he was asked over his time, in this world. And he said, God would have to be pretty stupid not to know about Satan. God's the director and playing all parts. This is his Leela. This is his show. But you know what has encouraged me to this day is when I stumbled upon the thought of these great cycles of time, the day of Brahma, when all of manifestation comes out, and then the night of Brahma, when he brings everything back into its seed form, as Swami Kriyananda explains. Even God needs seclusion. And I thought, very good. I was very, very happy as I'm sharing this, that even God gets sick of his Maya. And it's really a challenge for us. It's why we need, as Yogananda said, to be joyous at all times. We need to be in this world, but not of it. We need to distance ourselves. And this is the perfect time, these times that are power-packed with the presence of, in this instance, with Christ, to really dive deep, to break through this cosmic hypnosis, to remember again and again and again who we are and where we're going. And so let's spend time with Christ this season, and especially Christmas that's coming up next week, to dive deep into the blessings that are here for us. Again, Yogananda wanted to set the tone, and so the all-day meditation was to remind us of spiritual Christmas. That comes first, then social Christmas. Both are needed because we really require balance in life. We need to have both to enjoy that reality that we are divine, but at the same time in this temporary state, in this dream world. So we need to enjoy our own soul, the presence of Christ, and then share him. And so happy Christmas to everyone, and let's continue to send wave after wave of blessings through meditation, through prayer, through seva, in all the ways possible through this world. Hold this world up into the light and know that these prayers work, because of course they do.
Now we'd like to have a blessing. And for those of you who will receive this blessing, offer a prayer of gratitude to the infinite Christ in whose love our line of masters have descended, that we might all come to God. Pray too for the grace to share with all, as you have received, for you are a part of all that is. May the light of Christ and the great Masters shine upon you. And now we will have one closing song. This song is from Christ Lives, the oratorio that Swamiji wrote about Christ's life. And this is one of the joyful songs. We'd like to end with that. So Santosh, you can play that now, please.
Sing out with joy, God's light has descended. Sing out with joy, all our nights have ended. Sing out with joy, God's light has descended. Sing out with joy, all our nights have ended. Sing on every mountain, oh sing in every valley. Sing within your soul that you live in the Lord. Sing on every mountain, oh sing in every valley. Sing within your soul that you live in the Lord. Sing out with joy, God's light has descended. Sing out with joy, all our nights have ended. Sing out, oh people, sing to the Lord. Sing out with joy, we live in the Lord. Sing on the mountains, sing on the plains. Fill your heart with gladness, for Jesus has come. All you who labor, all you who sorrow, know that the Savior awaits but your love. Joy on every mountain, joy in every valley, joy has come to earth. Welcome Christ in your soul. Joy in every meadow, joy in every home. Joy will come to you once you live in the Lord. Sing out with joy, God's light has descended. Sing out with joy, all our nights have ended. Sing out with joy, God's light has descended. Sing out with joy, all our nights have ended.
Thank you, Santosh. Now I'd like to close with a healing prayer. Visualize all those that you know who are in need of healing energy in their bodies, in their hearts, their souls, their minds. Those who are close to us and those souls that we don't know. Visualize this world surrounded and filled with God's peace, Christ's love in every heart, Christ's love in every atom, Christ's love in every soul. Every living thing filled with the love of God, shining with His radiance and His love. Visualize this for just a moment, for that is the true reality. That is who this world really is. It's who we really are. We are beings of light, come to be channels for that light in this world. Now let's pray. Divine Mother, Thou art omnipresent. Thou art in all Thy children. Manifest Thy healing presence in all bodies, minds, and souls. Go out with joy.